Welcome to Doug Moore's Photography. Today I'm going to be talking about the Wheat Ridge Greenbelt, which basically runs from Youngfield Street on the west all the way along Clear Creek to Kipling Street on the east. Um, for me, there's three parking areas that I typically use. Those would be the Youngfield entrance, Prospect Park, and the Miller Trailhead, which is actually off of 41st Street and Kipling. If you're coming from Denver, you're going to come out 70 to Kipling Street to go over here. That's probably the easiest way. And then you can come down to Ward Road and come to 44th, and you can either go to Prospect or Youngsfield. So let's start on the west side. And first thing I'm going to say is that this bike path, this user path is pretty heavily used, even in the mornings. Um, so watch out for bikers and runners and people with dogs and things like that. Um, so as we leave the Youngfield entrance here and come down the Clear Creek Trail, you're pretty high above Clear Creek. And there are a couple of little places that you can actually get down to the creek, but I've never really utilized any of those. Um, Westlake here is pretty big. I've never had any real success with the birds coming in here. Maybe over in this area. Over here we have Tabor Lake. This is the island where the cormorants and herons nest. I've had good luck off of this peninsula. I've also had some pretty good luck over here in this little alcove on the corner. Going to the south side of the creek here, Bass Lake, there's actually a pretty nice little path that comes along the back side here. This is all wetland, so you may see some decent wetland species in there. There is a blind over here, but it's not really well positioned. It hasn't been cut down in quite a while, so it's kind of obscured. But it is there. You could try to use it and see what you can get. Coming to the north side of Bass Lake, this is where Clear Creek um, really kind of gets better. You can actually duck into the woods here on a side path that isn't really technically a trail, but it runs along the entire creek. This gets you pretty close to the creek down in here. But as you come around this bend, it's higher up on the bank. And I I tend to basically, go past here and then you're back down towards the creek again from here down to the bridge that crosses over to Prospect Park. So from Prospect Park, you're basically uh, either going, east or west. And this is kind of, to me, some of the best habitat there is. It depends on what I'm doing. If I'm coming in to do a sunrise, Tabor Lake is really good for that. And then I'll come in from Youngsfield and come in here, do some shooting from here on this side, and then I'll make my way back around and follow the creek up, see what there is. This area here tends to harbor deer. I've seen great horned owls in this area. Uh, you can also come in from here and go over here. Typically, the way I work this is that I will come in and I will work the woods areas. And then when the sun is a little bit higher, then I'm following the creek back. And that tends to be a little bit better because the sun is higher in the sky and it's getting more light down into the creek. Prospect Lake itself, I haven't had great luck, but I've seen a lot of variety in there. There is a dock over here on this side, and I have seen mergansers and muskrats and things in this little area here. But again, it's a pretty big area, and the bank is somewhat closed up. In some areas, though, it's rocky, so you got to pick and choose where you would be able to get down to the water. So a lot of times I will come into Prospect Park, uh, hike down this way along the creek to Tabor Lake, and then come across the bridge and come back up. And usually I will come in over on this side and then come back the same way and come back to Prospect Park. So those are typically the things that I'm doing out here. Your Clear Creek is, I think, the main draw, except for Tabor Lake. The creek does not freeze in the wintertime, and therefore it gets a lot of waterfowl. So you'll have obviously mallards, gadwells, green-winged teals. This year I saw pintail, and also a wood duck. So, it depends. As migrations start and coming through, there can be, quite a diverse. Obviously, on Tabor Lake, you got the cormorants and the herons that are nesting out here. They do tend to fly kind of from Tabor Lake to West Lake, and so sometimes if you're here on the bridge area, you can catch them flying, over you. Um, but it's a really unique ecosystem, a lot of different habitat, and I think it's really a great place to go. It's close to my house, so I go there quite often, and it's really uh, never really disappointed me. So hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.